Yeah, I think it's safe to say the mutants are on the way, y'all. This is my Wandavision episode 6 breakdown and review. Time to talk about it. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Klepcx FM, brought to you by WeAreCritics.com, a place where we talk about movies, television, and pop culture. And if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you hit that subscribe key and the notification bell so you can be up to speed about everything I talk about here. So episode 6, Wandavision, has just aired. I just finished watching it. And I have a feeling that every week we're going to be saying this was the best episode. This was the best episode. Because once again, bravo, Marvel, bravo. Not only did you deliver, but you left me on another damn cliffhanger that I can't wrap my head around. And I'm already excited for the next episode. Now, we are going to be talking about, I'm 1,000% convinced mutants are on their way. And this is how they're going to come in. We're going to get into that. But first, let's talk about some of the Easter eggs and callbacks and things of that nature that actually happened in this episode. So let's break it down from the very beginning. It's very 90s. It has a 90s opening. They straight rip off Malcolm in the Middle. For those of you who don't remember Malcolm in the Middle, it starred Frankie Muniz, Bryan Cranston. It was a very it's a family sitcom, but very different in a sense. They're also talking directly to the screen. Very fourth wall breaking type of series of that time. I wasn't really a fan of it. I never really watched it, but I knew exactly what it was when I saw the intro. I was like, this is Malcolm in the Middle, all the way from the vibe of the theme song. And I remember the theme song, the original theme song to Malcolm in the Middle. If I can remember, the song said something like, you're not the boss of me. You're not the boss of me now, or something like that. So kind of very on the nose about what's going on in this episode, especially where Vision is concerned. And I'll explain to you how. So it starts off in the credits. If you notice, throughout all these episodes, the only people who were being introduced in the credits were Wanda and Vision up until the last episode, the Family Ties episode, where they introduced Billy and Tommy, Wicked and Speed, the two kids, the sons, the twins. And now in this one, they introduced Agnes. They actually put Agnes's name in the credits, and I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know why they did that, and I'll explain to you why, because she doesn't really have much screen time in this episode, but her moment is very, very pivotal, and we'll get into that as well too. So this episode, again, 90s, Malcolm in the Middle intro opens up. The two boys, Tommy and Billy, are in the kitchen. They're all excited about Halloween. We see that Tommy is a bit of a bully towards his brother Billy. Billy's a softie, you know what I mean? He's kind of, he's in full costume, by the way. Billy is wearing his Wiccan outfit for Halloween. It's not to a T, but it is very reminiscent of the comic book Wiccan outfit. So they're getting ready for Halloween. Wanda comes down in full Scarlet Witch outfit. Classic, beautiful. She looks dope. It looks just like the original costume. Well, not the original costume from the comic. And then Vision comes down, and he looks like a very watered down, silly version of his original costume from the comic. But it's so reminiscent. It's so cool. It's a great callback. We're excited about it. As soon as I see them, I'm smiling. It's something that you take in and you appreciate very well. Then it cuts over to Sword after, Vision, he kisses Wanda goodbye. She's realizing that she's not able to control him the way that she thinks. She's thinking that he's going to come out and have a family night and do Halloween. And he's like, he has to go do neighborhood watch with the guys. And she doesn't recall that being part of the plan. You're not the boss of me. You get it? So he goes and does his thing. Her brother Pietro, the new Pietro, Evan Peters, he volunteers as, I'll be the father figure. Let's go out. We'll do our thing. So then we cut to Sword. We get out of sitcom mode. And we go straight to Sword, which is probably like the better parts now. Like I get excited when I see Sword come on screen. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but as soon as Sword hits the screen, I'm like, yes, more secrets. We're gonna find out what's going on. Like I don't mind the little subtle Easter egg stuff when we're in Westview, and things of that nature. But when Sword gets on screen, I know that my brain is about to go, and I'm all for it. I'm waiting for it. So during this, Haywood shows his true colors, man. I mean, he is like straight antagonist mode right now. Like he's sounding very Ross like, Thunderbolt Ross, if you know what I'm talking about. Endgame seems to have left a serious scar on the survivors of the blip, the people who didn't blip away, who were left here for 5 years, and then who, probably somehow, some way saw that massive war in upstate New York between Avengers and Thanos and all that thing. So they're all pretty much, Hayward, I should say, is very on edge. He's very non-negotiable with superhuman people, and he calls Monica out on it, and even throws her relationship with Captain Marvel in her face, and she's just like, whoa, like, Hayward's scarred, man. He's going for blood. He's even, throwing shots at her, calling her weak, that if you were around when your mom was sick, you don't have the stomach for this. Like, he's out for blood. He's just being a real douche, a real dick, and his true colors are really showing. He boots them out. He boots Monica, Darcy, and Jimmy Woo out. So they're out of the game right now. So now he's like calling all the shots. He's making sure that, there's no interference on the side. He clear cut wants to stop Wanda. He thinks that he could take Wanda down. Silly rabbit. So as they're being escorted, Jimmy Woo, he kicks a little ass. Monica kicks a little ass, and they find refuge in a side little lab area where they could, kind of do what they do behind the scenes without Hayward knowing, and kind of still know what's going on within the Hex with Wanda and with Vision. So then we cut back to Halloween in Westview. Pietro, he drops a cool nod. They're showing the kids all in Halloween. It's daytime. Everyone's trick-or-treating during the day, and the kids are running loose, and they're going to get food, running loose and running wild. And Pietro drops a ill nod, says, unleash the hell demon spawns, or something like that, calling the kids demon spawns, which in the comic we know that these kids are manifested by Mephisto, and they're not real children. They are manifestations of the devil in Marvel Comics. So that was kind of a funny, cool nod. Wanda realizes that it's not her brother. She's very aware that he's not the same Pietro that she remembers. He's just different, and she's kind of like looking at him and making references, trying to test him. Is it him? Is it not him? Like, how do you know this? And things like that. And then he runs off to go help the kids get more candy, and she drops a nice little Easter egg where she goes, Kick-Ass. Because we all know that Evan Peters was in Kick-Ass, and her real brother was Kick-Ass. For those of you who don't remember, Evan Peters was the best friend to Kick-Ass, who was then later recasted in Kick-Ass 2. Thank God he dodged that bullet. But yeah. So Wanda starts talking to Herb, and realizes, that Vision is actually not our neighborhood watch, and that he was, kind of bullshitting it. But she doesn't really think much of it. She's just like, oh, okay. And then we cut back to Sword, I believe. Nope, before Sword, we cut to a commercial, which was very, very, very 90s style. Very 90s style. It was like a Go-Gurt commercial with the little clay animation, motion stop type deal. Shark coming out of the water type deal. It felt very Saturday morning cartoon. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I watched it, and I'm chuckling at this thing because they're so on the nose with the callbacks and the Easter eggs and things of that nature. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then we cut to Sword, back to the Sword facility, and there was another nod that I noticed before we go to Sword. In Westview, there was a movie theater, they were showing movies in Westview. And one of the movies was The Incredibles, and the other movie was Parent Trap, which I thought was a cool nod considering the situation. The Incredibles being the family with superpowers, everybody knows that, and the Parent Trap being the two twins that play a trick on the parents to bring them together. I thought that was kind of cool that they threw those nods in there in the movies. And if you didn't know those movies, you probably would have never picked up on it. But it was very clear as day. When I saw the movies, I was like, ah, exactly. I get what you're doing, Marvel. Then we go to Sword. Now, Sword is like, this is cool because now we cut to Darcy, we cut to Jimmy Woo, we cut to Monica when they're in their little side lab trying to figure out things while they're not allowed to be in the main facility. And as they're walking by, you see the TVs. The show is still being broadcasted all over the place, but it's on two 90s styles television. You have a clear television that you can see through, and then you have like a flat screen, but it still has the big back. I remember having one of those TVs back in the day too. Very heavy, very, very heavy. The bigger you got, the heavier it was. So during this, Darcy is, she's finding out more secrets about Hayward. You find out that he's actually tracking Vision, and he's probably been tracking Vision. And I said this, I called this. I said that there's history there that we don't know about between Wanda and between Hayward. I believe that maybe Hayward stole Vision from her, or vice versa, but they definitely have met before. It's not the first time that they've met. He has way too much hostility towards superheroes, towards Wanda, towards the whole Vision situation, and then the fact that he's tracking Vision already just lets me know that there's some sort of history there. Now, Monica has a plan to go back in, and she makes this cool little. She drops this little gem where she says that she's gonna go back into the hex, but Darcy says, no, you can't go back into the hex. And she's like, why? And she shows her the computer, and the computer shows Monica's lab results. Her DNA has been completely altered. Completely altered. Mutants! This is where I think Marvel has dropped a large gem on us. Mutants are on the way. They are going to use Wanda to then alter the DNA of all humanity. And I'll explain how that happens when I get to the end of this, because the ending of this episode, I'm sure you've seen it, but I'm going to explain more about why I think that this is going to happen. Now, we cut back to more Halloween stuff, and Vision is on, exploring Westview and trying to figure out more and more about what's going on. He's seeing people crying. The lady, we've seen this in the commercial too, by the way. The last trailer, well, we've seen this in the first trailer, but we didn't know what was going on. But they show, kids trick-or-treating, but then there's parents that are like in a trance and doing things, but they're like out of it, crying, but not showing any emotion, just like tears just falling down. And Vision explores the whole place. He flies in the air, and then he realizes he sees a car parked, not moving at a stop sign. It's just sitting there, not moving. He flies down, and it's Agnes. Finally, we get to see Agnes. After all this time, we finally see her. She got a big credit in the beginning, but we don't see her until probably 10 minutes before the whole thing ends. And then this is also we see in the commercial, but the context that they showed us kind of seemed like Agnes was up to something. But now we're kind of like on the fence. It's like, is Agnes playing us? Is she not aware? Is she aware? Because she doesn't even seem to understand what's going on. Vision unlocks her to get more information, and she's shocked. She's like, oh, you're Vision. I know who you are, but am I dead? Because you're dead. And Vision's like, what do you mean? Vision also doesn't even remember what an Avenger is. He can't even remember the word or what his team was. So this is very interesting that Vision only remembers Wanda. Like, this is where the mystery just keeps rolling and rolling. And then for Agnes to even throw more in there, because I'm believing her. But the one thing that she did mention that I noticed, I picked up on, was the fact that she knew who was in control. Most other people were kind of like her, make her stop. No one knew who she was, but Agnes knew it was Wanda. She said, he goes, well, I want to leave, or something of that nature. And she's like, but Wanda won't even let us think about leaving. She says her name. She name dropped her. So I thought that was kind of interesting that out of everybody, Agnes remembered exactly who she was, saying that she won't let them leave. then it cuts back to I believe it cut back to Sword and Wanda and them, or this could have happened before, but I know it was on the same area. But Monica makes a reference to oh yes, she had her way back into the Hex, and she said that her guy was going to meet her within an hour. So that means expect within 2 more episodes, because there was 4 left before this one, so now we have 3 left. So within 2 more episodes, which is an hour, expect a big reveal. I don't know who. I have a speculation because people were speculating before when she made that drop about the aerospace expert. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic. Will he have his powers? Maybe not. But I suspect that he may be the big drop, the big reveal. Maybe we'll get more than one big reveal. Maybe we'll get Reed Richards, and maybe we'll also get a Doctor Strange later on. But she said within an hour, she's got to meet her guy on the bridge. Within an hour, that's 2 episodes. Unless one of these episodes is like 45 minutes long, I'm going to say that we're going to get a big reveal in the next episode or 2. Remember I said that. Then we go back to Halloween. Wanda and Pietro are having a heart-to-heart. They're talking about it. She's trying to kind of figure out, who he is or where he is, and he clearly knows her, but she doesn't really understand who he is, but just knows that it feels like her brother. Like it feels. And I actually like this moment because the layers are getting peeled, and we're getting to see, like, is this really Pietro? Is it not really Pietro? I can't even call it. He seems a little devious, but it's so genuine that you really can't even call it. Like, is it him? Is it not him? She didn't even know how powerful she was. He clear cut asked her. He's complimenting her and saying, this is cool, but how did you do it? This goes a long way, far beyond, giving people nightmares and doing squiggly hands and stuff like that, making a joke. And she's like, she thinks about it. She's like, she doesn't even remember how. She just remembers the feeling that she felt being alone and endless loneliness. And it just kind of just happened. It just kind of manifested. Maybe that's just her not realizing how powerful she really is. And this all just kind of happening around her. We want to believe that someone else is behind her and someone else is pulling the strings, but I keep going back to it. I honestly just think that this is just Wanda. Like, I want to believe it's more, but I honestly just think that this is something that just went out of control for her, and I just feel like all that other stuff would just be way too confusing and only something that real comic book enthusiasts would understand. But for the casuals to keep this thing flowing, I don't know if the Mephistos or the nightmares and all of that are going to be directly dropped into this thing right away. So I don't know. So as this is going on, Vision breaks through Westview. He actually gets through the barrier, but he has Hayward waiting for him on the outside because they can track him and they know it's going. Darcy also can see this. She knows exactly where Vision is. As he's trying to get out, you notice like he's somehow attached to Westview. Like, he comes out, but it's a struggle. And that's that leaked scene that we saw where he falls and his pieces of his body just get pulled right back into Westview, and he can't control it. He can't stop it. So they're all just kind of like shocked at what's going on. And Darcy's like, why aren't you helping him? Like, he seems to come out. And that's when Vision yells, the people need help. And then it cuts to that other leaked footage where Tommy has gained his abilities now, and he can sense and feel his dad. Like, he pretty much has Scarlet Witch's powers. And he's trying to figure out where he is. She tells him, where is he? Where is he? And then Evan Peters makes that special comment, that fucked up comment, where he's like, your dad can't, your husband can't die twice. She turns around and zaps him, and he flies all the way across. So I'm curious to see what happens with that, because they don't even go back to that. They just show him just fly across from her powers. And then, listen, during this, when Vision, what Hayward, Darcy's like, help him. Hayward have somebody take her away and handcuff her. They handcuff her to one of the vehicles that are out front of this anomaly, this Hex. Scarlet Witch, she ain't having it. Something's happening in the Vision. She's about to make sure it stops. So she goes full, I want to say almost Phoenix-like, and just takes the hex and starts expanding it and expanding it and expanding it. And I'm telling you right now, this is where my callback to mutants are coming off of this show. She expands it to the point where it's like expanding throughout the entire state. Everybody's running for their lives. Everyone's trying to get away. Hayward's trying to get away. He jumps in the car. He's driving off. Jimmy Woo and Monica are on the road. They're driving off. But Darcy couldn't go anywhere because she's handcuffed to a vehicle and they all left her there. So now the hex is expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding. Vision's on the ground, almost dead. It pulls him in because it expanded and his life is saved, thank God. But Darcy is now pulled into the hex. Now she's in Westview, the anomaly. So now, what's going to happen with Darcy? Is Darcy going to become a mutant? I'm very, very curious. This show, overall, man, I don't know what to say, man. Marvel, hats off, man. You guys are killing it. Every week, I'm calling the episode my favorite episode, but this one here definitely knocked it out the park. And I am excited about mutants coming into this, DNA getting altered, switching Darcy in the hex now. Like, you guys, let me know what you thought, what your final feelings are on this episode, or what you think the future of the MCU is going to look like. Are mutants coming? Is this how the mutants are going to be created within the MCU? I think it is. You guys, let me know what you think. Please like, share, comment. Make sure you subscribe. And for more news, television news, movie news, and a podcast, make sure you guys check out wearecritics.com. And I will talk to you next time. Peace.